So I'm assuming that it must be hard to see me, right, have my heart broke.
She was hating on the queen, Beyonce, so I
was
called her.
not hating on Beyonce.
It kind of was hate.
No, it was not directed at all as hate.
Keyshia Cole is finally speaking up and confirming why everyone turned on her.
If you're moving off of emotions, I think that, you know, things are going to change because, I mean, you aren't going to always feel the same way. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think if you take your time and just, like, analyze things a little bit better.
We're talking about a career-ending feud with Beyoncé that got her blacklisted by major producers, a bitter war with BET over unpaid reality show money, and family exploitation so shocking it tore her own bloodline apart. But that's just the beginning.
When she was hating on the queen, Beyonce, so
I
I
was
called her.
not hating on Beyonce.
It kind of was hate.
No, it was not directed at all as hate.
When the Bow Down record came out,
Yeah,
and you
I
was-
love Beyonce.
There's also the industry connections she burned one by one until even Grammy-winning producers refused to work with her.
There was something about how Keyshia Cole complained that you weren't giving her any songs because of your relationship with Beyonce and how she sort of said something about Beyonce.
It wasn't nothing towards Keyshia. I mean, she knows that, and everybody that with a brain knows that.
But the real question is, was Keyshia unfairly judged, or did she burn too many bridges? Let's get into it. If there's one artist you don't want to go up against, it's Beyoncé. She's not just a singer, she's a cultural force, a brand, and one of the most influential figures in the music industry. But that didn't stop Keyshia Cole from calling her out, and when she did, the backlash was swift and unforgiving.
If somebody says, I love you, but I hate you, that's not homage.
This wasn't just a passing comment or a small misunderstanding. Keyshia made it clear that she had a problem with Beyoncé, and she didn't hold back. What followed was a wave of controversy that divided fans, made headlines, and even raised questions about whether Keyshia's outspoken nature had cost her career opportunities. The tension between Keyshia and Beyoncé began after Beyoncé released her song Bow Down, a track that many interpreted as a message to her critics, making it clear that she was at the top of the industry and wouldn't tolerate disrespect.
Bow down, bitches, bow down.
The song's lyrics, particularly the repeated line, bow down bees, sparked discussions about whether Beyoncé was contradicting her usual message of female empowerment. Keyshia was one of the first artists to call this out publicly. She took to X again, posting, "First, women need to stick together. Now this? All hail the queen." Sarcasm. She followed up by accusing Beyoncé of hypocrisy, saying, "Can't stand when people all self-righteous when it's convenient, but can still talk us when it's convenient too." Hypocrisy.
Her, you know what I mean? Her thing, but I don't know, like you know, dude said.
But what many people didn't realize at the time was just how calculated and risky this move was. Keyshia wasn't just criticizing a song. She was going up against one of the most powerful figures in the entertainment industry. Beyoncé's influence extended far beyond music. She had connections with major labels, producers, and executives who could make or break careers with a single phone call. Keyshia's words did not go unnoticed. The reaction was immediate, and the backlash came with full force. Within minutes, the Bayhive, Beyoncé's notoriously loyal fan base, flooded her mentions with insults, memes, and even threats. Fans were outraged, calling her bitter and jealous, questioning why she would come for Beyoncé, an artist who had reached heights Keyshia never had. Some even suggested that Keyshia had just ruined her own career. One Twitter user wrote, "This is why Keyshia is where she is and Beyoncé is where she is. Respect the queen." Others argued that Keyshia was simply stating her opinion and had a right to call out what she saw as hypocrisy. But in the court of public opinion, the damage had already been done. Beyond the social media storm, many started wondering whether this public feud had deeper consequences for Keyshia's career. What happened next would prove just how dangerous it can be to cross certain industry power players. The backlash wasn't just coming from fans, it was coming from inside the industry itself. Producers, executives, and other artists began to distance themselves from Keyshia, afraid of being caught in the crossfire or facing their own backlash from Beyoncé's camp. After the confrontation with Beyoncé, Keyshia Cole's career began to unravel, and the first sign of trouble was the decline in her album sales. Her post-controversy releases faced a daunting challenge in recapturing the glory of her earlier works. Fans and critics alike began to notice a significant shift in her music, and this reflected in album sales. Keyshia Cole released several albums in the aftermath of the controversy, including A Different Me, Calling All Hearts, and Woman to Woman. While these albums still showcased her vocal prowess and songwriting skills, they couldn't replicate the success of her earlier works. Her once loyal fan base seemed to be dwindling, and these albums often struggled to gain the same level of attention and critical acclaim that her previous projects had enjoyed. Part of the problem was that Keyshia was now being viewed through a different lens. Instead of being seen as the authentic, relatable R&B star who sang about love and heartbreak, she was increasingly seen as someone who created drama and controversy. This shift in perception made it harder for her music to be taken seriously, as people were more focused on her feuds than her artistry. In addition to the decline in album sales, Keyshia Cole's chart performance also suffered in the wake of the controversy. Her ability to maintain a strong presence on the music charts was severely compromised. Her songs no longer resonated with the masses as they once had, and this reflected in her chart positions. During her heyday, Keyshia Cole regularly graced the Billboard Hot 100 with her hits. Her earlier singles like Love and Let It Go had achieved top 10 positions on the chart, showcasing her influence and popularity. However, post-controversy, her songs struggled to achieve the same level of chart success. While she did manage to chart some singles post-feud, they often landed in lower positions, far from the top-tier spots she had once claimed. It was no longer a given that a Keyshia Cole track would become a chart-topping hit. Her chart presence became more sporadic, and it was evident that she was no longer a dominant figure on the charts. As if that's not enough, Keyshia also lost a lot of connections with key players in the music industry. In fact, producers like The Dream didn't want to work with her anymore. During an interview with Vlad TV, he was asked whether he would work with Cole after she suggested the song made Beyoncé seem hypocritical. To this, he answered, "Right now, because of what happened, I can't. And I think she would respect why I can't. That's Beyoncé, my family. You're talking about my family, and you can't do that."
There's something about how Keyshia Cole complained that you weren't giving her any songs because of your relationship with Beyoncé and how she sort of said something about Beyoncé.
It wasn't nothing towards Keyshia. I mean, she knows that, and everybody that with a brain knows that.
This statement from The Dream was particularly devastating because it represented a broader sentiment within the industry. When a producer of his caliber, someone who had worked with Beyoncé, Rihanna, and other A-list artists, publicly announced he wouldn't work with Keyshia, it sent a clear message to other industry professionals. It wasn't just about loyalty to Beyoncé, it was about the unwritten rules of the music business and the consequences of breaking them. Additionally, the controversy also reverberated throughout her relationships within the music industry. Collaborations with fellow artists and producers became increasingly infrequent as the negative publicity that had emerged due to her comments created a sense of hesitation and fear about potential backlash from the Bayhive. Keyshia Cole found herself somewhat isolated, experiencing a stark shift in the dynamics of an industry where connections and alliances are crucial to success. The ripple effects extended beyond just music collaborations. Award shows, which had once been platforms for Keyshia to showcase her talent, began to feel less welcoming. Industry events that used to celebrate her contributions to R&B started to overlook her presence. It was as if she had been quietly blacklisted from the inner circles that determine an artist's trajectory in the entertainment world. Simultaneously, her public image, which had been carefully crafted over the years, began to undergo a transformation. Her outspoken and candid nature, which had endeared her to fans, took on a divisive dimension. While some admired her honesty, others viewed her as a polarizing figure, defined more by controversy than her musical talents. Keyshia Cole was confronted with the challenge of rebuilding her public image and reestablishing herself as a respected artist. The industry's cold shoulder became even more apparent when it came to her later creative decisions. Keyshia herself later admitted that some of her post-controversy career moves were mistakes. She revealed that she regretted releasing the single I Ain't Through without following her label's advice, believing it wasn't ready and wasn't aligned with her soulful brand. These kinds of creative conflicts, combined with what many considered weaker-sounding material, may have further alienated both labels and producers, affecting her commercial momentum. But Keyshia's problems with industry power players didn't stop with individual artists. Her relationship with BET, one of the most important networks for Black entertainment, became another source of major controversy that would further damage her standing in the industry. The issues with BET went deeper than just creative differences. They involved money, respect, and what Keyshia saw as years of being undervalued, despite her contributions to the network's success. The first major blow came during the run of her BET reality series, Keyshia and Daniel Family First. While the show was popular and brought in solid ratings for the network, Keyshia publicly claimed that BET never paid her or her husband for the first season. This wasn't just a behind-the-scenes complaint. She aired this frustration via Twitter for all her fans to see, stating bluntly, "They haven't paid us from the first one." This public call-out was unprecedented. Most artists handle payment disputes privately through lawyers and managers, but Keyshia chose to blast BET on social media. While some fans supported her for speaking up about what they saw as unfair treatment, industry insiders viewed this as another example of Keyshia burning bridges instead of handling business professionally. But the financial dispute was just the tip of the iceberg. What really hurt Keyshia was what she perceived as a pattern of disrespect from BET when it came to recognition and awards. Despite multiple successful albums, consistent touring, and being a regular presence on BET programming, Keyshia never won a BET award during her peak years. This was particularly frustrating because she had performed on the BET Awards stage nearly every year from 2006 to 2010, helping to bring viewers and credibility to the show. The breaking point came in 2011 when she was notably excluded from the Best Female R&B Artist nomination list. While other artists from her era were being recognized and celebrated, Keyshia was completely overlooked. Her response was telling. Instead of attending the awards ceremony or playing the industry politics game, she focused her attention on touring and thanked her fans directly, essentially dismissing the importance of the awards altogether. Later, she reposted a fan message criticizing BET's treatment of award shows and pointing out her omission despite her chart dominance. The message reinforced the narrative that had been building. BET was disrespecting one of its most loyal performers. What made this situation particularly damaging was how it played out in public. Keyshia's disputes with BET sparked divisive reactions throughout the industry. Critics argued that calling out the network so publicly could harm her own career trajectory, especially since BET had been such a powerful platform for her music and visibility. They saw it as another example of Keyshia's inability to play the industry game strategically. Meanwhile, supporters and fans echoed her grievances, with many pointing out the obvious. Keyshia Cole had a hit show and didn't even get a BET award. The disparity seemed glaring, and it added to the growing perception that Keyshia was being blackballed, or at least deliberately overlooked by industry gatekeepers. The BET controversy was significant because it represented a pattern in Keyshia's career. She had a tendency to air her grievances publicly rather than handling them behind the scenes. While this authenticity was part of what fans loved about her, it also made industry executives and network heads nervous about working with her. Nobody wanted to be the next target of her social media callouts. Beyond the high-profile feuds and network disputes, Keyshia faced other challenges that contributed to the industry turning against her. Her reputation for being difficult to work with began to spread throughout industry circles, making it harder for her to secure the same level of collaborations and support she had enjoyed earlier in her career. Fans and industry insiders mentioned that Keyshia was at times seen as hard to work with. While some viewed her as having strong emotional intensity in her music, others felt she wasn't evolving stylistically as R&B shifted toward new trends, particularly the trap-inflected R&B that was becoming popular. These perceptions were compounded by other controversies that, while smaller than her major feuds, still added to the narrative that Keyshia was prone to drama and conflict.
You turning up?
One thing for certain.
I'm lost. Cause this last week, 2 weeks ago, we cool.
We cool every
Mama,
night.
so what's the issue?
The issue is that house, you go digger.
In the mid-2000s, reality TV was booming, and Keyshia Cole jumped into the wave with her hit BET show, Keyshia Cole, The Way It Is. At first, the series was praised for its raw and unfiltered look at Keyshia's life, her struggles, her rise to fame, and most importantly, her complicated family relationships. Fans were drawn to the realness of it all. Unlike other celebrity reality shows that focused on luxury and success, Keyshia's show was about family, pain, and trying to heal from a rough past. But while the show made for must-watch TV, it also put Keyshia's personal life, and especially her family, in the spotlight in a way that became controversial. Viewers saw her deep issues with her biological mother, Frankie Lons, who had battled drug addiction for years, and her sister, Nef, who had her own struggles.
We're supposed to meet with a therapist.
Why does a therapy session have to be in our home?
You just find out that
The family's arguments, their emotional moments, and their constant ups and downs became a major part of the show's appeal. But as time went on, people began to question, was Keyshia giving fans an honest glimpse into her life, or was she exposing her family's dysfunction for entertainment? The show's success came at a cost that wouldn't become apparent until later. By putting her family's most vulnerable moments on television, Keyshia was opening wounds that would never fully heal. The cameras captured every argument, every relapse, every emotional breakdown, turning their pain into content for public consumption. Things got even messier when Frankie and Nef got their own spin-off reality show, Frankie and Nef. Unlike Keyshia's show, which still had a balance between her music career and her personal struggles, Frankie and Nef was purely about their family drama.
So I'm assuming that it must be hard to see me, right, have my heart broke.
But Keyshia wasn't happy about it. Her frustration wasn't just about them doing the show, it was about them doing it without her approval. Keyshia had built her brand around her authenticity, and she felt like her family was now using that same authenticity to cash in without her. According to Nef, Keyshia didn't want them doing the show at all. This led to a major fallout between Keyshia and her sister. Their already rocky relationship only got worse, and things were never the same after that. The tension between them spilled into public view, with fans picking sides. Some felt that Keyshia had a right to be upset, believing that Frankie and Nef were exploiting the family's struggles just for a check. Others argued that Keyshia had already done the same thing, using their issues to build her own reality TV success. The irony wasn't lost on critics and fans alike. Keyshia had initially put her family's business on television, profiting from their dysfunction and trauma. Now that her family members wanted to do the same thing independently, she was trying to stop them. It raised uncomfortable questions about exploitation, consent, and who had the right to tell these stories. The drama raised a bigger question. Had Keyshia's reality show helped her family, or had it just made their problems worse? While Keyshia saw her show as a way to be open about her life, some believed that putting their deepest struggles on TV only added to their problems instead of solving them. Frankie's addiction battles played out on camera, Nef's emotional breakdowns became viral moments, and Keyshia's own pain was turned into a spectacle. Fans loved the show for its honesty, but at what cost? Reality TV thrives on drama, and while the way it is started as an inside look at Keyshia's life, it quickly became about the dysfunction of her family. And once those wounds were opened up in front of millions of viewers, they never really healed. Beyond the major feuds and industry disputes, Keyshia found herself involved in several other controversies that, while smaller individually, contributed to the overall narrative that she was prone to drama and conflict. One particularly embarrassing incident involved her recounting how she slapped a woman who allegedly grabbed rapper Eve's purse. While Keyshia may have thought she was being loyal to a friend, Eve was actually displeased with Cole's actions, leading to a rift in their friendship. Cole later reflected on the incident, acknowledging that her behavior was inappropriate and attributing it to her upbringing, but the damage to her relationship with Eve was already done. Financial problems also plagued Keyshia during this period. In 2014, the IRS filed a lien against her for failing to pay over $162,000 in taxes from 2009. The government warned that they would seize her property if the debt remained unpaid, adding another layer of public embarrassment to her growing list of controversies. Legal issues from her past also continued to haunt her. Cole faced ongoing problems stemming from a 2002 DUI arrest. In 2014, a judge indicated that she could avoid a 30-day jail sentence if she provided proof of completing court-mandated alcohol education courses, bringing unwanted attention back to her legal troubles. Additionally, Keyshia Cole's past relationships have often made headlines, But few were as publicly humiliating as her brief romance with former NFL player Antonio Brown. What started as a musical collaboration in 2022 quickly turned into a spectacle, leaving Keyshia hurt, embarrassed, and regretting it all. At first, the two seemed to have real chemistry. Brown and Cole worked together on music, and their flirty social media interactions fueled speculation that their relationship was more than professional. But as quickly as their bond formed, things took a turn. The relationship should have been a red flag from the beginning. Antonio Brown had already established himself as one of the most controversial figures in professional sports, with a long history of erratic behavior, legal troubles, and public outbursts. His reputation for treating women poorly was well documented, with multiple accusations of misconduct and a pattern of burning bridges wherever he went. But Keyshia, perhaps hoping for a genuine connection or caught up in the excitement of a new collaboration, ignored the warning signs. She publicly expressed her feelings for Brown, making herself vulnerable in a way that would soon backfire spectacularly. After publicly expressing her love for Brown, Keyshia was blindsided when he ridiculed her in front of millions. He not only dismissed their connection, but humiliated her by sharing their private moments online. Cole, deeply hurt, took to Instagram Live to express her emotions.
I didn't expect that. I did not expect him to say what he said. Now that he said what he said, it's obvious that that's the stance on things.
Fast forward to 2025, and just when people thought the saga was over, Antonio Brown did something even worse. He exposed private messages between himself and Keyshia Cole. On February 15th, 2025, Brown posted screenshots of old messages from Cole, reigniting their past drama. The texts included intimate confessions from Keyshia, with her saying, "I effing love you, and I ain't hiding it, so what? I don't care who knows." Perhaps most shocking was a photo of Cole showing a tattoo of Antonio Brown's initials, AB, on her lower back. This wasn't just a betrayal, it was a violation of privacy that showed just how deeply Keyshia had fallen for someone who was completely unworthy of her trust. The tattoo revelation was particularly damaging because it showed that Keyshia had made a permanent decision based on what turned out to be a temporary and toxic relationship. This wasn't just a betrayal, it was a violation of privacy. Brown had once again turned a personal relationship into public humiliation. The backlash was immediate. Fans, industry insiders, and even Cole's new boyfriend, rapper Hunkshow, reacted to the drama. Instead of engaging directly, Hunkshow subtly made his presence known by posting a FaceTime screenshot of himself and Keyshia, signaling that their relationship was unshaken despite Brown's antics. Meanwhile, critics slammed Brown's actions as an invasion of privacy and an attempt to stay relevant by exploiting past relationships. Some pointed out that he had a history of disrespecting women, comparing this incident to previous allegations against him. The Antonio Brown disaster became symbolic of a larger pattern in Keyshia's life, her tendency to make her personal relationships public, often with disastrous consequences. While she was clearly the victim in this situation, it also reinforced the industry perception that she was prone to drama and poor decision-making. Keyshia, who had already expressed regret about getting involved with Brown, now found herself back in an unwanted spotlight. While she has yet to respond to the latest leak, one thing is clear. This relationship was a mistake she wishes she could erase. The situation also highlighted how Keyshia's personal struggles had become intertwined with her professional reputation. Instead of being discussed for her music or artistic achievements, she was once again in the headlines for relationship drama and personal chaos. In any case, despite all the setbacks, Keyshia has shown remarkable resilience. She continues making music, performing, and touring, recently celebrating the 20th anniversary of her debut album. She's heading into a North American tour, proving that while industry support may have waned, her connection with fans remains strong. She's also become more reflective about her past mistakes, publicly acknowledging poor decisions and showing a willingness to learn from her experiences. This growth and self-awareness have helped her maintain relevance even when industry doors have closed. From chart-topping success to messy public feuds, heartbreak, and betrayal, Keyshia Cole has seen it all. She's been disrespected, underestimated, and even humiliated, but through it all, she keeps pushing forward. The real question isn't whether Keyshia deserves respect, it's whether the industry and the world will finally give it to her. Will she let the mistakes of the past define her, or will she take back control of her narrative and remind everyone why she was once considered the voice of a generation? One thing's for sure, Keyshia Cole isn't done yet. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.